So, Brooklyn is in a really weird shape. And I think it really revolves just around Kyrie Irving. Here we go. So if you've been listening to a lot of NBA news, and this will be a quick take, if you've been listening to a lot of NBA news, the Nets are probably one of the greatest failed experiments in terms of building a lineup for a championship team that we've probably ever seen. The Lakers are also in that conversation, but let's talk about the Nets because this is sort of just falling apart. So it all started when Kyrie Irving was supposed to probably be traded away. And then when contract negotiation, because there's so many in-betweens there. You're getting a lot of different reports, but so Kyrie Irving was probably supposed to be traded away to the Lakers, and he opted in, and then then the trade rumor started. And then when the trade rumor started about Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant goes to the Brooklyn front office and says, "I want to be traded," which I think is it just speaks volumes about Kevin Durant, which really annoys me. And then he goes out and makes a demand and he says, "I want to be traded to the top 2 teams in the NBA in the regular season." This is ridiculous. Like, how much easier do you want it, Kevin Durant? In my opinion, like, how much easier do you want it just to win? This really pisses me off about Kevin Durant because so many people have him in the conversation for being one of the greatest players of all time. But I believe this guy should just keep getting disqualified. He kind of disqualifies himself in these conversations. Simply because when he left OKC to go to Golden State, I thought that was just such a cowardly move. You had that team on the ropes 3-1. If you ran it back, you might have been able to beat them. That was a 73-9 team. And you had all the weapons to sort of just take them down. You didn't do that. You ran to Golden State. You ran to the team. It's like, you ran to the team that beat you, and you know that if you're there, there's no way anybody else could beat you, which is the case, because that Golden State team had to be one of the best teams of all time. The only team that I believe could beat that team, hands down, are the 2000 Lakers, the 2001 Lakers, which went, I think, 16-1 in the playoffs. That's probably the only team that could beat them because no one could guard Shaq. But that team was absolutely insane. Now, he leaves Golden State. And there are also rumors that Golden State is trying to pitch for Durant, which, if you're Golden State, I don't think you need to do that anymore. You're probably going to give up way too much for a guy who's probably going to ditch you in free agency like he did the last time, where when he had a chance to leave Golden State, he took it and he went to Brooklyn. He goes to Brooklyn, and now he's saying, "I want out." I feel so bad for Brooklyn because this is already the second time I think that they've tried to build a super team. If you remember the Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett trade, which kind of screwed them so bad, and the players that they could have gotten, they did not get. So now they have Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, and both players want out. I think Brooklyn gave Kevin Durant everything. I think Kevin Durant I don't know what this is. This again speaks a lot more about Kevin Durant than anything. Brooklyn was very kind to Kevin Durant. Brooklyn let him rehab for a year, I believe, as the narrative goes. And then he was also instrumental in the DeAndre Jordan contract. And again, Brooklyn really gave Kevin Durant all that he could handle, all that they could possibly give him, and this is how he repays them. It's even going to be tough to trade Kevin Durant because of the package that would need to come for a lot of these different teams. I don't think Phoenix would trade for Kevin Durant. I don't think Miami would also. I think that he might need to stay in Brooklyn, but if Brooklyn somehow pulls this off, I don't know a lot of the contract specifics that would need to happen for this to even be a reality. But I'm just talking about Kevin Durant, and man, again, he kind of disqualifies himself a lot from the GOAT conversation, or just from the top 10 of all time conversation, because of these things where he can be a leader, but he doesn't want to be. He can somehow create a narrative for himself. There's no doubt about his basketball skills. There is absolutely no doubt. He's a great scorer. He's probably the greatest scorer of all time, in my opinion. One of the greatest scorers of all time, in my opinion. Because you can't stop him no matter what you do. He's 7 foot tall, and he can shoot, he can drive, he can do a lot of different things. But he also has the benefit of having terrific teammates. I don't think Kevin Durant has ever really played in a year where he hasn't had great teammates. I'm talking about guys like Kyrie Irving, Russell Westbrook over the years, Stephen Curry, great point guards, side by side with him. And this just, I don't know. I'm just not convinced anymore with Kevin Durant. He seems to be one of the softest dudes in the NBA. His feelings get so easily hurt by criticism coming from random people that I'm pretty sure he doesn't even know, nor should he even care about, but he does anyway. So, Kevin Durant, I don't know. If you're talking about like the top 10 again, super hard to argue for Kevin Durant right now. He just seems to keep wanting it to be easy, and then he makes the argument that he's the best player on the best team. Granted, okay, cool, but in opportunities where, and the saying always goes, your strength is never judged during the best of times. Your strength and your character is judged during the worst of times. So Kevin Durant, when worst comes to worst, I guess he'll leave you. Or he'll jump ship, go to another team, and the strongest team at that. And if I'm the Brooklyn Nets, I'm pissed. I'm honestly pissed. Like, I want to dump. I mean, personally, I want them in Orlando or something, or team up with Paolo Banchero, see what you can do there, or go to New Orleans or something. I don't know, a team that looks like we could use a lot of help. I don't know, maybe Oklahoma if you want to team up with Chet Holmgren there. So that's it for GT Sports. We're gonna talk a lot more because. Also, just to give you guys an update, TJ Warren was signed by the Brooklyn Nets, which I think is a significant signing. TJ Warren hasn't played for quite some time due to an ACL tear, and I think that if what we saw in the bubble is a sign of things to come, TJ Warren could be a very good player for these Brooklyn Nets. We'll have to wait and see. Again, this revolves also around Kyrie Irving, who has a very, I believe is just kind of a weird guy overall. These two guys, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, they're like the number twos who just can't seem. They're like the number twos who want to be number ones but don't want the work of a number one. Let that be known. These are guys who are number twos who want to be number one but don't want the work that comes with it, I believe. And we're talking about number ones like Steph Curry and LeBron James. Those are standards. Whether you want, I can argue all day about that. But are Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving up there? I think the narrative remains to be seen where they actually are able to lead teams that don't have a lot of advantages, that have a lot of mixed players, and you can somehow make something great out of it. Like, for example, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Him and Chris Middleton, I believe, made something out of that Bucks team. And I think that speaks to Giannis' greatness, where you could probably already plug him into a top 10 list. You never know. But that'll be it for GT Sports. We just wanted to get that in. Hope you guys love our content. We're going to keep talking more about the NBA and the U.S. men's national basketball team. Stick around. I got more stuff for you. I'll see you soon.